we may not survive, you know?
Hey guys, welcome to our channel.
We're the LoveButts.
On this first episode, we're going to be talking about our COVID-19 journey,
How we survived together,
and where we are now. We documented this experience with a couple video clips. We hope you enjoy and get something out of it.
and we hope it brings a little bit of insight into this serious pandemic that we're going through right now.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns during the video or after the video, feel free to leave them down in the comment sections. We'll get back to you. Here's the first video.
Hey, it's day 3 of the quarantine. It's July 3rd, and my husband and I both have COVID-19. We got tested on the 1st. He started experiencing symptoms late Sunday night. He had a fever, we think, and then Monday night I had a fever and chills and body aches. So Tuesday we got up first thing in the morning and went to try to get tested, and we got to the facility at about 8:10, so literally 10 minutes after they opened, and they were already out of tests. They're only doing 50 a day, and they were already out, and that people have been lined up from about 6 a.m. So called around, drove around to a couple of the other locations. They all said the same thing, and that it would be best to come back, the next day. So Tuesday we just stayed at home. I tried to drink a lot of water, all that jazz. Then Wednesday we got up at the crack of dawn. Got to the facility about 5:30. There was already about 25 people in line. We had to wait in the line outside because obviously the facility was closed. So we got in line, sat there until they opened at 8. We finally got in to the clinic, so we were thrilled. Like, yes, we made it. We're in the number. And we give all our information. They ask us our symptoms, yada, yada. And then the lady says, okay, we're experiencing about a 7-hour wait. What? I'm sorry, what? They'll call us when they're ready for us to come back. So we went home, got in the bed until they called. So we were both pretty exhausted from the day. They called around 3:30. We went back. We both got the test. After about 15, maybe 20 minutes, they came back and told us that both of us tested positive. There was nothing they could do. And because we do have it, we would have to leave out the back door. Gave us our paperwork, told us to quarantine for 14 days, and then we'd have to get 2 negative tests to be cleared after the 14 days. So at that point, I was having a sore throat. We were both having fevers. And now, on day 3, it is, for me, just the throat. My head feels okay, my body feels okay, but my throat hurts so bad, and I can never fully clear my throat because of the pain. So I'm eating ice chips, and drinking a lot of water, and, just trying to stay positive. I know it could be worse, so just have to ride it out. Sam's doing okay. He's asleep at the moment, but he's hanging in there. He's had a bit of a fever, so we're just watching that, trying to avoid going to the hospital if at all possible, but we'll definitely go if need be. So yeah, that's where we are. Quarantine Chronicles.
Hey everybody, it is July 9th. No, July 10th. I am 9 or 10 days in from when I was tested, and 12 days now from my first day or night of symptoms. I'm feeling much better, probably sound better.
My throat doesn't hurt anymore, thankfully. I don't have as much of a cough. Every now and then it comes and I'm still a little bit tired, but for the most part, I think I'm recovering pretty well. I think the last time I updated you all, I was talking about how sore my throat was and how my husband really wasn't having that bad of symptoms. Well, unfortunately, things turned for the worse for him. We took him to the hospital Sunday night because he was really having trouble breathing. He said that it felt like it was just a lot of pressure on his chest. And his oxygen had been pretty low in like 90, 91 for about 2 days. So we were concerned about that. I had been watching it. I had talked with a few of, my doctor friends, nurses, and they were concerned, but were trying to encourage us if it dropped below 90 to go in. He just said he wasn't feeling right. Took him to emergency Sunday night, and he's been in the hospital ever since. They diagnosed him with pneumonia, both lungs. This is a byproduct of the COVID-19. So he's been in the hospital. His fever's been off and on. He's had cough, shortness of breath. So that, of course, is concerning. I can't go visit. I can't see him. I FaceTime him every couple of hours just to check in with him and see how his progress is and just to keep him encouraged. But it's scary. I'll be honest with you. During the worst of the days that I definitely had a few moments of just panic and just worry that we may not survive, because there are so many people that haven't. I had a cousin that just passed away last Tuesday. Day after the start of my symptoms, she passed away because of COVID-19. So, it's very serious. And I don't think you're never prepared. You don't, because the symptoms just seem so sporadic and all over the place. You just feel totally out of control. I know that it's compared a lot to the flu, the symptoms, and it is to an extent, but I think because we are so familiar with the flu, you kind of know what the process will be. You know that after a day or two, you'll start to feel better. You know certain things, whereas this is so different for everybody. You really don't know if it'll be a couple days, if it'll be a couple weeks. You'll have a fever if you won't have a fever. If you'll have a cough if you won't have a cough. So I think that's what made it very scary for me, because you hear about people that even thought they were getting better and then make another turn for the worse. So I just wanted to make another video to kind of document things and to remind everybody to try to stay as safe as possible. Still not 100% sure where we got it from. Kind of narrowed it down and think it may have been from my husband's. He took a CCW class the Friday before he started having symptoms, just in an effort to keep his family safe. He wanted to become a licensed firearm carrier. He did say that although he had his mask on, the majority of the class didn't. And the class was 4 hours long. So, imagine sitting in a small space with a lot of people, maybe 20 or so, that don't have on masks. They may not have symptoms, so they may not know, or they may know and not be concerned because they aren't sick. And then he came home and, I'm thinking, passed it to me. Regardless to where it came from, we know that it's a serious threat to everyone in the world. And I just pray that we are on the uphill battle from this and we recover with no long-term effects, because that's the other thing. You just don't know how this will affect you long-term. I am concerned about my lungs, but I'm also concerned about my husband's lungs. He's a musician, and so being able to play and have that longevity of strength and lung capacity is important. So this will definitely be a slow journey to recovery, but I know he's strong and I know he has the will to do it, and I just continue to pray for him and ask that you all do the same.
So it's been about 40 days since we first got tested for COVID-19. For the most part, our symptoms are gone. My husband really couldn't video with me the first couple of clips because he was in the hospital.
Scary moment. It was like day 5, day 6, I believe. Started having shortness of breath. So lay down. Still taking the Tylenol and the ibuprofen. The reason why I couldn't take deep breaths or couldn't catch my breath because I wasn't sleeping on my stomach to get my lungs to fully expand. For the first half of the day, I was breathing fine, like normal, laying down. That night, I couldn't catch a deep breath. Rolled over on my side, that didn't work. Went back on my stomach, got on my back. I just couldn't take a deep breath, so I woke my wife up, and she was like, "Well, what's your pain? Like you want to go now, or you just want to wait?" And I was like, "I just can't breathe." So we got dressed, came down the stairs, and then I could breathe again. So I don't know if it was just walking around, movement, maybe, I don't know. So I didn't want to take a chance. So we go to the hospital. We check into the ER. Take me back. They check my oxygen, and they say my oxygen was super low, and I should have been in the hospital. Like I should have been came. So
well, that's the thing. You know, we had gotten the oximeter to check our oxygen,
right,
and it kept fluctuating. It would be 91 one minute, 88 the next, 93 the next,
and then on different fingers too. Like it was like on this finger, which is where your heart is, the left finger, it was always 96, 97, but on my right side it was 90, 91, 88.
Yeah,
it was just,
so that made it hard to even really know which number to trust.
Yeah, took me in the back. They immediately put me on oxygen. I've never been on oxygen before, so like for those that's been on oxygen before or haven't, like when they put it in your nose, it feels like icicles blowing in your nose. It's so uncomfortable, especially when they have it turned up high. It's like it's just weird. So they took my oxygen, and then they listened to my breathing, and then they's like, "Oh, we need to do a chest x-ray." They come back, and the doctor wasn't in. That's when my breathing started acting up again. I couldn't catch deep breaths, even on oxygen. So I was on a level 2 oxygen. They took me up to a level 6 oxygen, which is like the bigger tube, more airflow. Needles don't really bother me, but so many. I had an IV in my left arm, IV in my right arm, and then I also had what they call a PICC line, which is like if you start to code or you start dying, they can pump your heart with real quick. It's instant. And I'm like, what in the world? So that automatically sent me into a worry, panic state. Like I don't want to worry my wife because she already is on edge because I'm not home with her, so we can go through it together. My dad, he's still recuperating from his heart attack. I felt like I had to keep everything to myself and be that strong guy. It was hard. It was hard. All the beeping of the machine. I was worrying like, will I die in my sleep? What if I start breathing in my sleep? Will the oxygen keep me going? Like, to come into a COVID positive room, it takes the nurses or the doctors so long to come into the room. So if you in a panic, it's gonna be at least a minute and a half because they have to put the scrubs on, they have to put the mask on. That was another worry in itself, But for the most part, the nurses were very helpful, checking in every hour on the hour. But the doctors, when they said that we don't really have nothing for COVID yet, then that just plays a part in your mental state, really. Yeah. It messes with you. And then he came in, he was reading the charts, and he was like, "So we got your x-rays back. You have pneumonia in both lungs." Great. Well, I don't even know what that feels like. Everything I hear about pneumonia, people die.
Yeah.
Like, it's no coming back from pneumonia.
I know. I mean, from my perspective, I was definitely like, that was another level of worry because...
Yeah, I was like, how do I tell my wife this? Because I already know she's in the parking lot. She's probably not even home yet.
Yeah. No, I stayed and waited because I wanted to hear what they were going to say before I even went home.
When he told me that, he was just like, but no worry, we have, over the years, the pneumonia medicine is better now or whatever. So I forget the name of it, but they pumped me full of this steroid. Wait, first they gave me a whole bunch of vitamins, like vitamin C, D, zinc, fish oil, the fish oil capsule pill. But the steroid shot, that thing makes you feel like you just had been struck by lightning. Like when they stick you, it goes like it's this, when your arm falls asleep and you get that ting, but it's inside your body and you feel it go from your head all the way down to your pinky toe, and it goes everywhere. He was like, all right, this is going to make you go to the bathroom. That bathroom experience wasn't pleasant. The first night it was definitely an experience. Second night it was still the same. My worry or my scaredness didn't change. That third night, that's when I started getting aggravated because they wasn't telling me anything. They didn't have any answers. They didn't have nothing. I said, what can I do? Well, you can breathe in this barometer thing. Basically, you just inhale and you have to try to exercise your lungs. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna do that. They say do this every hour for 15 minutes. Try to get it. All right, cool. I'm doing that. Then they say you got to start sleeping on your stomach. What? How am I supposed to get on my stomach with all these things in my arm? Every time I lay on my stomach, the machine start beeping. The nurses come in.
I mean, I feel like the fact that you hadn't never been in the hospital before, like admitted, like having that be your first experience is, I'm sure, traumatizing. So he was in there for like
5-6 days.
Yeah, 5 or 6 days. And then finally, his oxygen got to a point where they felt comfortable sending him home. Because he had been in the hospital, his quarantine was extended for like another 2 weeks. 2 weeks, right? Yeah.
They say when you get out of the hospital, your quarantine starts over. Yeah. So it was a full 2 weeks.
So I went ahead and got retested, even though he couldn't, since I had been home. I knew it was kind of a 50-50 since we were still in the same household of what the results would be. And my first retest came back positive. So even after 14 days of quarantine, I still had COVID-19. So we quarantined for the remainder of the 14 days, and then we both went and got retested again. We did one retest at CVS, which is do-it-yourself retest. You do it in the car, drive through.
Don't let your wife ever do the test for you.
So I did my own, but he didn't want to, so I did it for him, did his. And so that came back negative, thankfully. And then about a week or so later, we went and got a second retest at a local facility.
Females are doing much, much better. Awesome. All done. Maybe you can put your hands down so you don't move it. Thank you. Take your head backwards more. A little. Thank you. I gotta go both sides. All done.
Oh. We got our first negative. It was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it was.
Breath of fresh
Because then,
air.
We were feeling better, but you just weren't sure, especially since my first retest was positive. We feel pretty good now, I would say. We still have a bit of insomnia and aren't sleeping.
The insomnia, crazy. Like, my wife never talks in her sleep. Like, she'll make, like, certain noises or something like that every so often. But every night,
Really?
talking about full sentences. She said I was yelling out words. Like I was yelling out. And it's so the dreams felt real, like real.
It was like
you
nightmares.
Could, like you can touch them, touch whoever. What are you doing? You could feel it, and the deja vu's, like,
and the fatigue too. It really takes all of your energy. This virus does. So, I mean, just walking up the steps, you're exhausted. Walking down the steps, you're exhausted. You eat, you're exhausted. Put on clothes, you take a shower, just exhausted. And that lasted for weeks.
Yeah, you're talking about sleeping like 20 hours a day.
We wanted to just kind of share with you all what our experience has been. And, you know, hopefully you all don't have to go through it. But if you do, or if you know someone that has, and maybe if they're going through it now, they can, you know, trust that it doesn't last forever. It will get better, prayerfully. And we're thankful that we survived.
I just wanna sleep with you, nothing new, you know. Yeah, I just wanna sleep with you, nothing new, you know. Yeah, don't turn the brights on, shit, don't turn the lights on.